Naked, when it comes to motorcycling, means compromise. And compromise to me is a dirty word. And if you want an MV, you want the real deal. And there's nothing more real deal than the MV Agusta F4 RR. The RR bit of the name tag is the important bit. That means that it's the full tricked version, 201 brake horsepower, which actually makes it the most powerful production superbike out there. There's a lot to be said about its power and handling, but first I think we should get the little matter of its looks out the way. I mean, look at it. It's amazingly beautiful. So I think we should get the camera off my ugly mug and just look at this piece of motorcycling art.
We're calling it a piece of motorcycling art, not because that's how MV Agusta refers to its bikes, but because this F4 deserves that label. Beauty may be in the eye of the beholder, but we'd stick our necks out and say that this is the best looking superbike money can buy. And the good looks get better the closer you get. The attention to detail is second to none. Even if you're no bike expert, here's one element of the F4's appearance that marks it out as an MV Agusta: the 4 under-seat tailpipes. There's a pillion seat, if you're brave enough, but this is a bike that's really been designed just for one. And this is what greets you as you climb aboard: a comprehensive instrument binnacle where you can adjust the traction control, drive modes, and check the bike's diagnostics. World-class sport bikes need world-class suspension, and that's provided by fully adjustable O-lins front and rear. Adjustability extends to the chassis itself with steering head inserts and a movable swing arm pivot. And the footrests are also adjustable. Forged alley wheels are lighter than ever, and braking is also top-notch thanks to Brembo's fiercely effective monoblock calipers. Pirelli's Diablo Super Coursers provide all the grip you could want, which is handy for keeping 239,000 rands worth of stunningly beautiful superbike the right way up on a cold day of testing. The spec sheet says the F4RR should be a beast at the track, though Clinton does need to be careful given the low temperatures during this early morning track session. However, the F4RR is so easy to ride that by the second flying lap, Clinton has forgotten all about being careful and is just enjoying himself, ignoring the grip and concentrating on the engine. And why not? With 201 horsepower to play with, the F4's acceleration should really be classified as some sort of dangerously addictive drug. The 998cc motor has a really short stroke layout, which means it likes to rev. The red line is way up at 13,700 RPM. In road mode, throttle response is softened, but in sport mode, it's a different animal, responding more urgently to even a tickle of the twist grip. The Morelli ECU is a clever piece of kit as well, and we're glad MV hasn't decided to complicate matters further by adding in wheelie control. If it helps keep the front wheel up, we'll take it. If it keeps it down, we'll give it a miss.
So, Clinton thinks compromise is a dirty word, does he? That's because he's a young factory racer and he's completely divorced from the real world. And the real world is what a naked bike is good at. This! Traffic, city, living. Let me show you exactly what I mean.
Try doing this on the F4 and your wrists would be screaming in agony. And the racing crouch also means your visibility would be reduced. With the Brutale, you're sat upright, and so you can see so much more, which makes riding in traffic much, much safer.
Naked bikes don't lose any of that sporty appeal, well, only a tiny fraction. But the payoff is worth it because, look, I can deal with city streets, I can deal with commuting, I've got a nice riding position. But I have to be honest, if I want to get the best out of this Brutale, I'm going to have to meet Clinton at the track. Time to go home, get changed, and do some proper riding.
Naked bikes, as a rule, aren't very good looking. Without all the bodywork from which to sculpt a beautiful shape, the designer's options are severely limited. Having said that, this Brutale isn't exactly an ugly duckling. It uses a similar frame to the F4 with a mixture of steel trellis and cast aluminium, and on this top-of-the-range 1090RR, which, by the way, is actually 1078cc, there's also adjustable traction control to help tame the 156 horsepower. There's top-quality suspension too, from Marzocchi up front and Sachs at the rear. And of course Brembo, well, they take care of the braking with those serious monoblock calipers. With race rubber fitted as standard, this should be one road bike that feels right at home at the track. And indeed, it does.
What a brilliant bike! The MV is fulfilling all of the promises that it gave me on the road, where it is a mad, mad motorbike. And on the track, exactly the same. Bonkers.
Wheelies are obviously not a standard testing method, but believe it or not, they can tell you a lot about a bike, especially the engine's fueling and mid-range, which as you can see is just fine on the Brutale.
First gear stands up on the throttle, second gear just a whiff of clutch. And you're away. Very comfortable wheeling bike. I like it.
Well, I've already done a bunch of laps, but it's so addictive. I'm just going to go out and have some
Hold
more.
on, where are you going?
Have some more fun.
Before you have any more fun, I'm desperate to know, matey. What does 201 horsepower feel like?
Honestly, Matt, it's unbelievable, this bike. Right from the bottom end, through the mid-range, and at the top end, it feels like it doesn't even slow down. It just keeps on going, skiing you at the corner every time.
Really? So mid-range, there's no step in the power, it's not all at the top, it's not all at the bottom, it's just everywhere.
It's one of the most rideable road bikes I've ever ridden in my life. I mean, honestly, it's just confidence inspiring. You get on it, you enjoy every turn, every lap. It's just so much fun.
And the handling then as well, is that better than you thought it would be?
It's honestly, it feels like I'm riding a race bike. It doesn't feel like I'm riding a road bike. You pitch it in, load the front end up, it turns on a dime. I do not have enough words.
I'm glad you said that, Clinton, because I rode it and thought, wow. I mean, it's so much better than the MVs I rode a couple of years ago, so I'm glad you backed up my feeling. But what I'd really like you to do is have a go on this Brutale, because I've been riding it on the road, and I have to tell you, also, it's absolutely amazing. So I want your feedback off the track, mate. Get on this, give me a few laps. Don't wheelie it, because I know what you like.
Ah, I shouldn't have mentioned the wheelie, should I? It's just a red rag to a bull. But when you've got as much talent as this, I suppose it's difficult not to act the fool. At least this fool can tell me about the Brutale's abilities after just a few laps. It doesn't matter what he gets on, Clinton's exploring a bike's limits within a couple of minutes, and that means he can tell us how good the Brutale is, or isn't.
Well, Clinton's back, not too sweaty after his few laps that I've sent him out on, and Clinton, I am desperate to know. I know you really like the F4RR, and there's nothing not to like about it. Different motorbike, but how different?
Matt, different riding position, felt hugely different in terms of geometry and that kind of stuff, but also awesome package. Motor, a lot shorter gearing, so it gives a big punch out of the turns. Maybe just a little bit short for the track, but I can see where on the road it would be a load of fun. Geometry, like I was saying, bike turns in a little bit, not quite what the F4RR has in terms of consistency turn by turn, but I can definitely see where it's a weapon. A lot of fun, but I think I'm in love with the RR, honestly.
I think you are, but there's absolutely no reason that Clinton shouldn't be. He is almost speechless over the whole thing, and I don't blame him, because these bikes are essentially pretty much faultless. So, MV Agusta is back with a serious bang in South Africa. They're selling you these 239 grand for the F4RR, which sounds like a lot, but believe me, you won't, but it's almost a bargain. 169 for the Brutale that Clinton's on also sounds like a lot, but either way, you're getting a massive amount of motorcycle for your money.